We start by setting a proper motivation, which consists of 3 parts. Keeping in mind what you visualize and how you visualize it. The more powerful the experiential feeling that we get from our visualization, the more effect it has on us. We start by visualizing the refuge field, Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, any enlightened beings you feel close to with regard to wisdom and compassion. Visualize them in the space in front of you and imagine that they are looking at you directly into your eyes with immense love and kindness, always there to receive you, to hold you, to give you strength, courage. Visualize the Bodhicitta field, your 2 kind parents, mother on the left and father on the right, all your near and dear ones, neutral people, people you may have difficulties with, and all the sentient beings, leaving none aside, including even the unicellular creatures. Include all of them in this Bodhicitta field and visualize that they are surrounding you, and here you are leading them in this practice, looking at each one of them in their eyes with immense love, kindness, compassion, this feeling of closeness to each and every sentient being. And third, reminding ourselves of the purpose of this practice, which is to remove all our mental obscurations in order to manifest the seed of perfection, the Buddha nature, which is inside each one of us, but which is currently obscured by the gross defilements called afflictive obscurations in the form of the afflictions, contaminated karmas of the body, speech and mind, and the active seeds of these 2, and the subtle obscurations called the cognitive obscurations, which manifest in the form of self-centered attitude. So with this engagement in this study, reflection and meditation, may we remove all these mental defilements, become fully awakened, and lead every sentient being and also install them in their perfect happiness. With this motivation, we start reading from page 3, not only reciting the words, but also trying to invoke the experiences in us as we read these very precious verses. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subduers expound a variety of teachings, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations, the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodam sukhi chodam la chancho padu dhane kapsuchi dhage jinso dipe sopnam ki trola penche sangye trupar sho. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavadat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavadat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavadat tesham chayo nirodha evam vadi mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of the self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of all. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, please liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Page 14, Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subdued from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, placed like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust-free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like the vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning or a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 31, the Heart Sutra Mantra. Ayathaum gate gate paragate parasangate bodhi swaha ayathaum gate gate paragate parasangate bodhi swaha yathaum gate gate paragate parasangate bodhi swaha yathaum gate gate paragate parasangate bodhi swaha yathaum gate, paragate, parasangate bodhi swaha, taratha om gate gate, paragate, parasangate bodhi swaha. Next page, page 32, 8 verses of mind training. With the determination to achieve the highest aim, for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds may I probe into my mind, and as soon as emotional and mental afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may I regard them still as my precious teacher. In grief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all this remain undefiled by the stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may I, recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my 2 collections vast as space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Page 73, 3 principal aspects of the path. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as unable, I will explain the essence of all the teachings of the conqueror, the path praised by the conqueror's children, the entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones, who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence. Strive to make good use of pleasure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddha. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasures of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds beings. Thus, from the outset, seek renunciation. Reverse attraction to this life by reflecting on how pleasure and opportunity are difficult to find, and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects, and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence, and remain intent on liberation day and night, renunciation is born in you then. Renunciation, if not tempered by a pure mind of bodhicitta, however, does not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of bodhicitta. Swept up in the current of the 4 powerful rivers, tied by the strong bonds of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries, thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arisings. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehensions, has entered the path which pleases the Buddha. Appearances are infallible dependent arising. Emptiness is the understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddha. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refute the extreme of existence. Emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final goal. Kindly turn to page 165. Since Kishina is doing teachings on the Four Immeasurables and the two methods of generating bodhicitta, we'll recite this text, which is chapter 1 from Bodhicharya Avatar by Bodhisattva Shantideva, and it's titled The Benefits of the Awakening Mind, as in the benefits of bodhicitta. Respectfully, I prostrate myself to the Sugatas, who are endowed with the Dharmakaya, as well as to their noble children, and to all who are worthy of veneration. Here I shall explain how to engage in the vows of the Buddha's children, the meaning of which I have condensed in accordance with the scriptures. There is nothing here that has not been explained before, and I have no skill in the art of rhetoric. Therefore, lacking any intention to benefit others, I write this in order to acquaint it to my mind. For due to acquaintance with what is wholesome, the force of my merit may for a short while increase because of these words. If, however, these words are seen by others, equal in fortune to myself, it may be meaningful for them. Leisure and endowment are very hard to find, and since they accomplish what is meaningful for humanity, if I do not take advantage of them now, how will such a perfect opportunity come about again? Just as a flash of lightning on a dark, cloudy night, for an instant brightly illuminates all, likewise in this world, through the mind of Buddha, a wholesome thought rarely and briefly appears. Hence virtue is perpetually feeble, the great strength of immortality being extremely intense, and except for a fully awakening mind, by what other virtue will it be overcome? All the Buddhas who have contemplated for many eons have seen it to be beneficial, for by it the limitless masses of beings will quickly attain the supreme state of bliss. Those who wish to destroy the many sorrows of their conditioned existence, those who wish all beings to experience a multitude of joys, and those who wish to experience much of happiness should never forsake the awakening mind. The moment an awakening mind arises, in those fettered and weak in the jail of cyclic existence, they will be called a child of the Sugatas, and will be revered by both humans and gods of the world. It is like the supreme gold-making elixir, for it transforms the unclean body we have taken into the priceless jewel of a Buddha form. Therefore, firmly seize this awakening mind. Since the limitless mind of the sole guide of the world has upon thorough investigation seen its preciousness, all beings wishing to be free from worldly abodes should firmly take hold of this precious awakening mind. All other virtues are like plantain trees, for after bearing fruit they simply perish. Yet the perennial tree of the awakening mind unceasingly bears fruit and thereby flourishes without end. Like entrusting myself to a brave man when greatly afraid, by entrusting myself to this awakening mind, I shall be swiftly liberated, even if I have committed extremely unbearable wrongs. Why then do the conscientious not devote themselves to this? Just like the fire at the end of an age, it instantly consumes all great wrongdoing. Its unfathomable advantages were taught to the disciple Sudhana by the wise Lord Maitreya. In brief, the awakening mind should be understood to be of two types: the mind that aspires to awaken and the mind that ventures to do so. As is understood by the distinction between aspiring to go and actually going, so the wise understand in turn the distinction between these two. Although great fruits occur in cyclic existence from the mind that aspires to awaken, an uninterrupted flow of merit does not ensue, as it does with the venturing mind. For those who are perfectly seize this mind, with a thought never to turn away, from totally liberating the infinite forms of life, from that time hence, even while asleep or unconcerned, a force of merit equal to the sky will perpetually ensue. For the sake of those inclined towards the lesser vehicle, this was logically asserted by the Tathagata himself in the sutra requested by Subahu. If even the thought to relieve living creatures of merely a headache is a beneficial intention endowed with infinite goodness, then what need is there to mention the wish to dispel their inconceivable misery, wishing every single one of them to realize boundless good qualities? Do even fathers and mothers have such a benevolent intention as this? Do the gods and sages? Does even Brahma have it? If those beings who have never before even dreamt of such an attitude for their own sake, how could it ever arise for the sake of others? This intention to benefit all beings, which does not arise in others even for their own sake, is an extraordinary jewel of the mind, and its birth is an unprecedented wonder. How can I fathom the depths of the goodness of this jewel of the mind, the panacea that relieves the world of pain and is the source of all its joy? If merely a benevolent intention excels veneration of the Buddhas, then what need to mention striving to make all beings without exception happy? Although wishing to be rid of misery, they run towards misery itself. Although wishing to have happiness, like an enemy they ignorantly destroy it. For those who are deprived of happiness and burdened with many sorrows, it satisfies them with all joys, dispels all suffering, and clears away confusion. Where is there a comparable virtue? Where is there even such a friend? Where is there merit similar to this? If whoever repays a kind deed is worthy of some praise, then one need to mention the Bodhisattvas, who do good without it being asked of them. The world honors as virtuous one who sometimes gives a little plain food disrespectfully to a few beings, which satisfies them for only half the day. What need be said then of one who eternally bestows the peerless bliss of the Sugatas upon a limitless number of beings, thereby fulfilling all their hopes? The Buddha has said that whoever bears a harmful thought against a benefactor such as a Bodhisattva will remain in hell for as many aeons as there are harmful thoughts. However, if a virtuous attitude should arise in that regard, its fruits will multiply far more than that. When bodhisattvas greatly suffer, they generate no negativity. Instead, their virtues naturally increase. I bow down to the body of those in whom the sacred precious mind is born. I seek refuge in that source of joy, who brings happiness even to those who bring harm. Kindly turn to page 47. So continuing on recitation around verses on bodhicitta. On page 47, at the bottom of the page, you will see it says verse 25, starting from in order to. So these are again verses taken from Bodhisattva Charya Avtar by Bodhisattva Shantideva, I think from chapter 9. I'm not 100% sure, but okay. In order to, so when it says to increase it, the it refers to bodhicitta, which is also translated in English as the beginning mind. So, in order to further increase it from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized an awakening mind in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I have been born in the family of the Buddha, and now I am one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise, by some coincidence, an awakening mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is the tree that shelters all beings wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of karma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence, who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. It's from chapter 2, I'm told. We will now turn to page 26. which will be a very good revision for us from what Geshe-la had already taught in the last class. The title here says Meditation on the Four Immeasurables. So it's just giving us the guidelines of the what sentences we can use for our meditation on the Four Immeasurables. So we'll read together. Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be if all beings were endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness, primarily bodhicitta, which cherishes others more than oneself, and the wisdom of dependent origination. May all beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I will take the responsibility that all beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. Please bless me, Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, to be able to do so. The Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas are so pleased with you. Their compassionate, omniscient minds send forth nectar and light. Upon touching you and other beings, all are granted loving kindness. You expel 3 sighs of relief. Immeasurable compassion. How good would it be if all beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering, primarily self-grasping ignorance and a self-cherishing attitude. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will take the responsibility to free all beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. Please bless me, Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, to be able to do so. The Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas are so pleased with you. Their compassionate, omniscient minds send forth nectar and light. Upon touching you and other beings, all are granted compassion. You expel 3 signs of relief. Immeasurable joy. Please pause.
Okay. Half complete.
Reading the Four Immeasurables.
Okay, finish. Okay.
We read even chapter 1 of the Dictionary class.
Okay, good. Okay. Good evening, everyone of you. Okay, so it's a continuation from where we left last class. Last time we were doing the Four Immeasurables. We finished that. And now we are doing the bodhicitta. For your information, finally, as I've always been repeating this fact that not to forget what we seek. What we seek is, we seek to get rid of all the fears of life, and we seek to achieve the maximum happiness. These are the 2 goals of everyone, whether you're a believer, non-believer, whatever religion they're following, whatever ethnicity that you belong to, everyone finally seeks these 2 things. And keep in mind that say, while we have a very strong belief of this, the solidification of the self, of whatever the encounter with this, the discipline or the system and so forth. We have a very strong belief of the solidified version, but always keep in mind that the reality is that everything that exists in this universe, they're all dependently originated. In other words, everything is dependent origination, dependently originated. Everything comes into being by dependence on other factors. And this one must be convinced, and of course, on a gross level, we're convinced with that. We're convinced that things are dependent originated. The fact that the parents, they make sure that their children go to school, but dependence on going to school, they expect that the child becoming happy in the future, child getting a good job in the future, child becoming respectable in the future. That is being originated, or that originating. That is what the parents have in the mind. So dependent origination. And likewise, say for example, the business people, they just invest lots of money, eventually by dependence on investing this much, I expect this much to originate, dependent origination. And likewise, say in schools, the government and so forth, they invest a lot of money for schools. Then the children, the students who are being educated there, but dependence on this investment, that very good citizens will originate out of this. So this is how, say, we operate on the basis of the conviction in the law of dependent origination. And yet at the same time, it's not that our mind is fully in the conviction of dependent origination, while a part of mind belief in dependent origination, operate on the basis of dependent origination, but part of mind still believes in the solidification and independence. Say for example, if there is somebody who is a little nasty, and then we feel really unhappy. We see the person maybe like say 60% nasty, and then when you see that, because that you disagree with the person, and particularly if you have a little bit of conflict, then you will see project the person as well, like the person is 100% nasty, right? And then likewise, when we see somebody say like maybe 60% nice, we project as well like the person is 100% nice. So when it syncs, when the person's thinking, or when the person syncs with your mentality, then we project as well the person is 100% nice. Okay, so this is what is known as the weakness, they say the flaw, the fallacy of the solidification of things. Now the point is that everything is dependently originated. There's nothing which is independently there. So knowing this, say, even if you may, for example, say when you were young, in school days, in your college days, university days, you may see that other students, they are more competent, and I'm not that competent. Oh, someone is very compassionate, and I'm not that compassionate. And somebody is very stable and cool, calm. I'm not stable, cool, calm. Okay, so this is what we see. Did you see that? Did you have such experience in your life? Raise your hands, those who have such experience, that, oh, this person is so good, I'm not that good. Okay, so there, keep in mind that this person being good is because of dependent origination. You not being as competent as the other person is also because of dependent origination. It's not that you're intrinsically incompetent, other person's intrinsically competent. No. Believe it or not, it's a matter of opportunity. It's a matter of opportunity that say in the same family, two children, say the Siamese twins, right? Let's say Siamese twins, and then their personality, their thinking, it's almost like the same, identical. Then at the age of 5, say the family is the humble family. At the age of 5, the same twin A is same got an opportunity with the help of somebody like uncle, auntie, whatever, and then put the child in a very good school, and where the other child is still looking after the cattle, looking after the animals at home, and no study education opportunity. Then after about like 20 years, 30 years, the child who was sent to school, generally speaking, the child who was sent got this opportunity for studies, education, very good education, the child can become like a vice chancellor of a university. And the same somebody, or let's say the CEO of a company, whereas the sibling is just a very simple peasant, right? And then if two of them sit, even what they conversation is going to be very different. Conversation of the one who got the opportunity is going to be so rich with knowledge, and could speak something, covering a vast area, think about the holistic picture, about the world, whereas the other one only speaks about the cattle, only about the family, small, not really about the world. So this distinction, this difference, the contrast, it's not because that the one who got the opportunity, he was naturally gifted with intelligence. No. Same. It's a matter of opportunity. So the thing is that if we, so finally the point is that whether you are very compassionate, whether you are not so compassionate, although, and you see that those who are more compassionate, they're more calm, peaceful. Those who are less compassionate, they become easily agitated. When something goes wrong, instantly the self-centered attitude simply explodes, erupts, and then becomes very agitated. So they, oh no, you admit that, okay, so this is, I don't really have that, very strong feeling of compassion towards others. So therefore I easily become agitated. So the other person can display their quality. Okay, so what's the difference? You must, okay, that person is gifted. I'm not gifted. That's not true. It's a matter of opportunities. It's a matter of opportunities. Dependent origination, but dependence on the various factors which can potentially give rise to the person to become very good. Of course, with all these factors intact, the person will become good. Whereas without these factors, automatically the person will be deprived of that opportunity to become that good. So the point is the opportunities. And the opportunities, particularly, say when you're very young, like age 4, 5, 6, and that's not really in your hand. It's in the hand of your parents and the environment and so forth. But now, already, I don't think there is anyone who is younger than 20. Is there anyone who is younger than 20? Okay, so which means that we're all 20 plus, right? So 20 plus means you can decide for yourself. And then you can give the opportunities for yourself. You're getting it? So just imagine, say a stupa, a worn out stupa, debilitated stupa, worn out stupa. So this stupa is worn out, the other stupa is so beautiful, shining, golden stupa, right? And then some people may go to the circumambulate around the golden stupa and ignore the other stupa. Because there is one on stupa, it's not so attractive, right? But a very sensible person will see that even this, which is seen as worn out, it's also goes with dependent origination. depends on the one of bricks. Then it becomes a one of stupa. And the golden stupa is also dependent originated, but depends on golden bricks, it becomes a golden stupa. So why not? We can also give the same opportunity to the one of stupa. Remove the one of brick and replace it with the golden brick. Again, the next day, remove another one of brick and replace it with the golden brick. Then eventually, even this one of stupa will also start to glow. You're getting it? Likewise, each one of us, for example, say His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right? Anybody may not be at all a religious person. Just a very secular atheist even. Atheists, they come to see him, and many, they cannot control their tears seeing him with such a joy. So why is this? Oh, he's so special. Yes, of course he's very special because of dependent origination, but depends on very special factors. He becomes special. So for us, why not we also introduce these special factors to make ourselves special? You want to become that like one is, or you want to become one like him? How many you like to become one like him? Raise your hands. Look at she. Okay, everybody, right? Everybody wants to. In other words, it doesn't mean that there's somebody who likes to become the head of the Tibet. This is not the point. The point is somebody who likes to become the favorite of millions and billions. Who wants to become the favorite of the millions and billions? In here, raise your hands. How many you like to have millions and billions who really are crazy after you? Not because that you are a pop star. Because you are somebody who everybody loves with reverence. In fact, this is beautiful. The Bishop Tutu, he introduced His Holiness the Dalai Lama so beautifully. Okay, how many of you know Bishop Tutu? Okay, most of you know that. He's also Nobel laureate. He's also Nobel Peace Laureate. He shared the Nobel Peace Prize with Nelson Mandela. Right? Okay. So how he introduced His Holiness was that there are only two people who can fill the Central Park, New York. There are only two people who can fill the Central Park. Central Park is huge. It can easily accommodate 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs people easily, right? And he said, Bishop Tutu said that there are only two people on this earth who can fill up the Central Park. One is the pop stars. Number 2 is His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right? Okay. So what I'm saying is that we all want to become somebody like him, where everybody loves him, right? And can you become more like him? Answer is yes, of course. He becomes such a popular, somebody who's loved, respected, revered by people. It's also because of dependent origination, but depends on various factors. Particularly what factor? What factor? The factor of unconditional love. The factor of unconditional love. So is that within us? Is that with us? This question. Do we really have that quality of the unconditional towards others? Okay, just check it. Check it on a day-to-day life. Say, when you go, say, if there is somebody who is, say, somebody who is really hungry, and they say, is there love flowing from you? Can you give a bread? Yes, of course. Bread. Okay, fine. Can you give 10 rupees? Yes, of course. 100 rupees? Okay. 1,000 rupees? Okay, I have to check. I'll see whether it's there. It's actually there. But you have given thought, I should check if I have it. You have it actually. But your mind says no. Then 10,000 rupees? No. 1 lakh rupees? No way. Right? So this is it's conditional. It's not unconditional. The love that we display is conditional. You're getting it? Whereas if it is your mother or if it is a child, To 1 lakh, whatever I have, I will even give my life, right? But for that stranger, 1,000 rupees, okay, I'll check with my mother. 10,000 rupees, no way, right? So this is how biased we are. This is very conditional. So the love that we have, why we don't attract this much of the people who love you so much, is because that we don't have this factor dependent upon which all these millions and billions of people are attracted towards you out of love, out of respect for your good qualities. So that factor is missing. What is that factor which is missing in us, which in His Holiness attracts so much of fans? What is that factor? Unconditional love. Okay, so last time we are talking about the four immeasurables. Unconditional love. And of course you have many questions. I know you have questions on whether or not something is unconditional, conditional, whatever. Questions are there. I'll be very happy to take questions in the end, right? Feel free to ask these questions, and in fact, all these questions must be resolved. Not necessarily by me, but the question must come up. We have to know what the questions are. You're getting it? Okay. So now the point is that with this unconditional love, which is so precious, you have it. The first person who benefits out of this unconditional love is yourself. You become so calm, peaceful, and then even under a dire situation, challenges, tragedies, so forth, your mind you can maintain relatively a peaceful state of mind. You are not going to be agitated so easily. You're getting it? This is so important quality. And if you really want to feel the joy and happiness, finally, it is to free your mind from all barriers. Free your mind from all barriers. Unconditional, what's the opposite of unconditional? Conditional. Conditional means barriers are there. With this person, my mind flows. With this person, no, there's a barrier there because of this condition. Provided you are my mother, you are my father, you are my boyfriend, you are my girlfriend, you are my child, you are my this, that, so forth, only then I love you. Otherwise, no way, stay away. Right? This is conditional. This is conditional. So this conditional means that you create a barrier. Somebody, there's no barrier, your mind flows. But with others, your mind does not flow, which means there's a barrier. Where your mind does not flow, somebody stops that. That is a barrier. This barrier is not external barrier, your own mentally created barrier. You're getting it? So that stops us. That makes our mind conditional in terms of flowing your compassion, flowing your love and affection. So with this, the next question is, okay, for the time being, just take away all the baggage of your life experiences, love, say hatred, likes, dislikes, all just keep them away. Let us be idealistic. Today, let us be idealistic, right? Just imagine that if your mind flows to everyone, your mind flows with closeness, with affinity, with affection towards everybody. What is your mental state like? Happy or unhappy? Just imagine that. Very happy. For example, imagine that you go to your workplace, where there are like 20 people or like the 30 people, right? The colleagues, 30 people there. And then of the 30 people, say 29 do not like you. Only one is has a greater understanding towards you, right? 29 really dislikes you. What is your mental state like the moment you get up? Oh, now it's almost like 9 o'clock, 9:30, Tibet house is 9:30. Right, 9:30, I have to now show them the office. So what's your feeling? Very unhappy, disturbed, heaviness, right? And then Tibet house from 9:30 to 5:30, right? Say around like 5:15, then what happens? Then Hey, in experience, if out of 30 people, 29 people, they do not like you, right? Just they see you and then the facial expression, the body language is very unwelcoming. And then it is, or at the 5:15, 5:20, 5:30, you can leave, right? So what's your feeling? That's your joy coming. Joy coming at 5:15 and joy increases 5:20, 5:21, 22, 23, wow, 29 is very excited, 30, finish, right? Have to leave, right? And then tomorrow morning, 9:30, right? 9:10, then you are in your car, auto, metro, whatever, right? As you approach closer to the office, then your mind becomes heavier. Why? Your mind is becoming heavier. The approaching the office, because people you're going to meet, there's going to be like 29 barriers, which make your environment very small, which make your space very small. You can look at this person, right? You can look at the person towards your left side, right side, front, behind, right? You are just put in a cage, very small space for yourself. Okay, so whereas, and then somehow your relationship improves, and then the 10 people, they started to become friendly with you. What's your feeling like? You become happier now, right? Come to office, okay, it's not really too much problem because I have these 10 people there, right? I can go closer towards the 10 people rather than the other 20 people. And then somehow the next year, 20 people start liking you. Then you're very happy. And then the next, all the 30 people, they love you so much the third year. Then you look forward to going to the office. Right, you may leave office very early, around say morning 6 a.m. You may start going to the office, right? And then you may stay late, very late, like what? Office finishes by 5:30. You may stay like 6, 7, 8, right? And you just feel so happy the moment you are approaching the office. You leave it, you feel like, okay, right? Again, next day coming back. So the point is, in other words, your happiness. What we're all seeking is happiness, and the truth of the happiness, the secret of happiness is the love that you feel towards others. The love that you feel towards others, right? And this love, see how much you can say. I said we began by being very idealistic today, meaning that just imagine that you love everybody. What's the feeling like? The feeling is so happy, so light, so happy. This will leave no room for depression, anxiety, stress, and so forth. This is so important. And of course, to reach that is not easy. Right? It requires a tremendous skillfulness. It requires tremendous training. Okay. So now with this, the question is, that would be wonderful if I can have the unconditional love towards others. But the question is, how to cultivate this? To have love and affection towards, say, somebody, a few people. That is not difficult. This is what Charles Darwin said as the survival of the fittest, and the evolutionary theory. So through this, we have the tendency. This is what everybody can display. Love and affection towards a few people. But to everyone, that is what Charles Darwin cannot understand. So this is what the Buddha taught. Right? We can cultivate it. Number one, if you cultivate it, you are going to be the beneficiary. You will benefit the most. And you can cultivate it. How we can cultivate it? Okay. So next, the question is, how can we cultivate this unconditional love? You're getting it? Unconditional. Okay, this is so precious. For that matter, we need three things. One is learning. First, we have to learn. It's not easy. Because it is not easy, we have to first learn it. Theoretically, we have to learn it. Once you learn it, then you have to reflect on it to gain conviction in this, number two. To gain conviction, number two. For to gain conviction, we call it as reflection. Number two is reflection. Then number three, whatever reflected, with the reflection, you gain conviction. Once you gain conviction, your job is, okay, once you gain conviction, that for example, let's say that if I go to if I go to this office and meet person A, and I say that always I get some new ideas, right? It makes my job very easy. Okay, once you gain conviction in this, then what is the tendency for you to go to that place to meet with the person A? It makes your life so easy and you get many good ideas. What is the tendency for you to go to meet that person? Very frequent, because you have the experience, because you have the conviction. Once your conviction is gained of a benefit, then it becomes, it's only true. It is only then you will be say happy to actually proceed in this direction. And proceeding in this direction, it becomes the familiarity, right? So number three, familiarity is known as meditation or familiarization. Number one is learning. Number two is reflection. Number three is familiarization or meditation, right? Okay. Okay, let's say the first, generally speaking, I don't know what's the proper English word. Generally speaking, oftentimes I call myself a very skeptic person. And later on, I come to learn that skeptic is too strong word. Right? What is a better word? Huh? Gorilla? Huh? Huh? Okay. Inquisitive. Okay. Vivek is so kind. Another word?
Agnostic.
Huh?
Agnostic. No.
Agnostic. Closer towards that, but agnostic more related to religious, non-religious part. So generally speaking,
Question.
a questioning mind.
Analytical.
Okay, analytical is very exotic. Okay, so questioning mind, right? To be very gentle, I have a questioning mind. To be very strict, I'm very skeptic. Very skeptic person. Okay, means that, okay, generally speaking, this is my take. It's my personal taste, right? Although that's also dependent originated, right? It's my personal taste. That if I don't agree, if I think that it doesn't make sense, I'll not accept it. No, I'll reject it. I'll not reject it. If I'm not fully convinced, of his being wrong, or of its being correct, if I'm not convinced, if it's not correct, I'll not accept it. And if I'm not convinced that it is wrong fully, I'll not reject it also. I'll keep it very neutral, right? Simply because it does not suit my taste, so therefore I reject it. No, this should be very wrong, right? Whether you like it or not, the reality, if you can disprove this, only then you can reject it. If you cannot disprove this, don't reject it, but it doesn't mean that you have to accept it either. Okay, this is my take. So with this, what I'm saying is that the first, we have to learn. We have to learn to get the knowledge. Once you get the knowledge, then see this knowledge that you learned to see whether it makes sense to you. It makes sense, right? You subject this to analysis, reflection. And then for this first time you get conviction. Yes, that's very true. That's amazing. That's amazing. You're convinced? Then your job is to habituate in this. Habituate in this to make this thinking very spontaneous so that your happiness is spontaneous. It's not an easy task. Keep this in mind. Okay, now for that purpose, unconditional love. This is something which we have, we just idealistically, we might have heard about this, but we never thought about that I can also get to that level of the unconditional love. Okay, just tell me very honestly, those of us till today, how many had the conviction that okay, I can also experience what is known as unconditional. Unconditional love is that everybody can actually experience. How many of you have that thought before? Raise hands. That everybody can practice, they actually experience it. Literally can be experienced. Okay, how many of you thought that no, this is not possible? Raise hands. Be very honest. Be very honest. Okay, so in fact, the same in my personal journey. Initially, I had no clue because I cannot raise hand to say that I'm not convinced or I'm convinced, because unless I'm fully convinced with yes or no, I will not raise my hand for yes, no, raise my hand for no. Right? And then, but I just went with the belief it's always nicer to say yes to something positive, right? That yes, we can have unconditional love to us all. To say no, by no means it will help me in any ways, right? So it can only make my mind become gloomy, right? Okay, unconditional love is very difficult. His soul is there, his exception, right? Otherwise, we cannot. So that our mind we already underestimated our potential, right? We are not even ready to explore. So whereas if you see positive, if you remain positive, okay, this is something, yes, of course. Even though I'm not convinced, if I say, of course, at least my mind at that point, I'm happier, right? Okay, so this is how I approach. And then finally, so this is what we are studying now. What we are studying now, we're going to study now. I try to practice it. And in the process of practicing it, I reach to a level whereby there's no progress happening at all. There's no progress at all, right? And to envision, to reach that level, it is like, say, a very steep mountain, right? So first a slope, not a steep, a slope. And finally you reach a point where it is steep. You're going to climb, right? You climb, you fall. You're going to really climb. There's no progress. It's as though like you could feel that. Now there's no progress any further. The flow of, say, the love, unconditional flowing, that's not happening. Now I can't go anymore. I can't go beyond this point. I cannot. So I'm in luck. Self-centered attitude, right? So it is there and I cannot really overcome this. So this was the experience. So then how long it will take to really cross this, right? I could see as though like the mind is like this, a steep, vertically steep, right? You cannot climb anymore. This was the feeling that you can get. So this is why I asked you, just be honest. Be honest. How many of you really think that unconditional love is 100% possible? 100% possible for everyone, right? This is why I asked this question through my own journey. Answer is 100% possible. Today, if you ask me how successful are you in your journey, I would say that still I'm not really that successful. I'm still struggling. But I could say with some like a, what do you call it? Like a thunderstorm, like lightning, a brief lightning. So from there, they say, although I have not really been there in the Mount Everest yet, but from distance I can see the Mount Everest. I'm not there in the Mount Everest, which means I'm not experiencing bodhicitta, but from distance I will see the bodhicitta is very possible for everyone, right? It's difficult. Provided we follow all the steps properly, not just the meditation steps, even outside the meditation, post-meditation, what do you do? How do you deal with, right? All these complexities are there. It's not just one-sided, just sit in meditation and then you will have bodhicitta. No, this will never happen. So this is something which requires meditative, the steps, like theory, the theory. And after the theory, so how many are from chemistry? Raise hands. With background of chemistry? 1, 2, 3. Ajirji, chemistry? No? Okay. Ajirji from physics or philosophy? Literature. Okay, so anyone with chemistry? Only 3. Okay, chemistry. So what do? Theory part, you learn all this organic chemistry, right? The theory, formulas and so forth. And then what do? Go to the practical laboratory. You go to physics also is practical, yes. And nowadays even mathematics also is practical. Earlier times, during my time, no the lab for the mathematics. Nowadays even the mathematics also have labs, right? Okay, so what I'm saying is that the theory part is one. Then the theory part, you have to go to the practical, right? Lab, laboratory to check. In fact, it was so disheartening, right? In the theory class for the chemistry, okay, this salt analysis, right? Okay, how many you could remember that? Those with the blind face means that you have forgotten the salt analysis. Everybody must have done this in class 10. How many you remember that salt analysis? You may not remember too clearly. At least this word salt analysis is coming to your mind? Raise hands. Okay. Salt analysis is one thing which is so disheartening. In theory, it's so nice. But this salt with this chemical, then it will give you this fume, this color, so forth. When I actually go in the laboratory, I do that, it never comes. But the way it's going, I don't know where I'm going wrong. I still don't know. So what I'm saying is that theory is one part which is so nice, practically is very difficult. This is what I'm saying. There's no exception for bodhicitta practice. There's no exception for the unconditional love, practice of unconditional love. So for the unconditional, 2 things. One is the sitting meditation. This is like the theory. Sitting meditation with the steps. We have to follow the steps, right? Follow the steps. And the 4 immeasurables which you're doing, right? Which we're doing, the 4 immeasurables which we learned last time. 4 immeasurable practice is more like the what do you call it? Appetizer for the food. First you are given the appetizer. It's the appetizer. It's not the real food. You're getting it? But some people can use that as the real food. That's fine. There's nothing wrong in it. But for the unconditional love, practice for unconditional love, this is just an appetizer. Right? To really let this feel within you. Unconditional love, you have to follow the steps. 7 steps, 9 steps. These steps must be followed. Without following these steps, guaranteed that however much you may practice, or may you be happy, it will take you eons. It will take eons to really experience the unconditional love. So the steps must be followed. Okay, so the point is that the fact that we don't feel this, for example, the fact that I felt at one point that bodhicitta is like, now my mind has reached a point where the practice of bodhicitta, experience of bodhicitta is like a vertical cliff. You cannot climb anymore. You cannot reach that tip now. If it's a little slow, you can climb. Although it's a little difficult, no. But it's like this, how can you climb, right? This was what I felt. Even that feeling was also dependent originated. Even that is also because of dependent originated. Because that the feeling of the progress that you have reached is very small, and what is to be achieved is very far away. So you feel as though like this distance, you feel as though like it's like a cliff. It's impossibility. It's like impossibility. It's like an impossible task. Okay. So the point is that only through the practice, however, say you may feel that you actually start practicing this and then you feel that it's not really coming, it's not really improving. Initially, whether it's meditation emptiness, whether it's meditation impermanence, whether it's meditation unconditional love, initially there's going to be a spark of experience coming. A spark of experience, you'll be excited. Even with emptiness, there will be a spark of experience, quite energizing. And like a revolutionary experience. Right? And you may get a feeling that if I continue this journey, over like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years time, then I will surely get to realize emptiness fully. I'll surely get to have the experience of emptiness fully. But as you continue, as the graph is like, steep rise, graph, XY graph, say the progress of your mind, initially it's like steep rise, and then it'll curve down. So this is what everybody has to go through. Everybody. I'm sure even the Buddha Shakyamuni, right, before he became enlightened, when he proceeded through this path, he must have gone through this also. Guaranteed this. Many people, they give up when they experience this. They become so excited when to go through the steep rise. And then you continue doing this in time. It goes down, the progress, then many people give up. So this is where we are not to give up, just continue. If possible, meet with your teachers, read the very standard books, or to keep the flame alive. You getting it? Okay. So you reach a certain point down, and then a certain point, it'll start again rising. Again, it starts rising. When it starts rising, it's not like the steep rise. It's going to be diagonal. It's going to be diagonal, but the experience is going to be very stable. You're getting it? This is the difference. Earlier, steep rise, the experience is very unstable. Now, steep rise, experience is very stable. Stable meaning that whenever you like to have it, it comes. Whereas the first, when you go through the steep rise, right? When you have it, it's very steep, very energizing, and very exciting. And then when you want it, whenever you want it, it doesn't come. That is how it is not stable. Okay, so this is how we should proceed. Now the question is, for that matter, first we have to study, we have to know how to do this, how to remove the old worn out, how to remove the worn out bricks, how to replace it with the golden bricks. You're getting it? In other words, the old worn out bricks is what? Self-centered attitude. You have to remove this. The bricks of self-centered attitude is within us. Remove them one by one and replace them with the golden bricks of the other cherished mind. How? With following these steps. If you want to be very successfully, if you really want to see the concrete result, then we have to follow very systematically. Right? Some people, they are very impatient. They want the results just in 1 month, 2 months. So then in the first place, you will not go through the systematic studies, reflection, and because of which you will never experience the results. And then you will give up. That is the worst case. Okay, so the point is, okay, so to experience that, you have to gain conviction. To experience that in a full form, it is only through the meditation. To experience that, to meditate, you should be convinced of what to meditate. You have to have the conviction. For the conviction, we need the reflection. And to reflect on the subject matter, you need materials to reflect on. Materials must be gathered through learning. So this is the only way: learning, reflection, and habituation. Habituation is meditation. Three steps. So what we're doing here is the learning. And learning, we try to learn this in the process. You try to see if you're also getting some if you're also getting some conviction. Wow, this is amazing. You're getting it? And actual, okay. Saying nowadays, there's what is the startups. What startups? Huh? Young people, they want to go for the quick money. Out, do the startups, right? Okay. Startup for what? For to get money. Generally speaking, right? Okay. So what I'm saying is that first we need to have the ideas. We need to have the information. Once the information is intact, then you try to synthesize the information by reflecting. With this, then you will gain conviction. Once you gain conviction, then you will know how to take the steps. So then when you actually take the steps, meditation, then the replacing the old worn out bricks with the golden bricks start to happen. Only at that level, not with the first and second. But without the first and second, third is impossible. Right? Third is impossible. Okay. So now for that matter, the question is, okay, what is that information? What is that? What should we learn? Okay, how to cultivate the unconditional love. How to cultivate the unconditional love. So this teaching on how to cultivate the unconditional love. In fact, recently I met somebody who is very influential, and he was so fascinated. He was so inspired and fascinated by the Buddha's 54 episodes. Buddha's 54. How many of you have watched that? The 54 episodes. Raise your hands. Okay, how many of you didn't know about what this episodes, 54 episodes? Raise your hands. Okay, so this is something, what is BG Modi, I think. BG Modi production. BG Modi production. You just, it's the Google search or the, say, Buddha episodes. Buddha episodes, they are 55, 54, 55. Huh? 54. Okay, so there are 54. According to them, 54, right? Because in Pune, somebody says 55. Now here, somebody, no, not Pune. So when I met somebody, he said 55. I also watched that, but I don't remember too well whether 54, 55. Okay, the point is, let's say 54. So this you must watch. And he watched that, and he was inspired. His whole life changed by just watching this 54. He said that, so these are his favorite things in his life now. That just, say, reduced his tension, stress of life, almost like half. Just watching it from there, he's so inspired by the love, affection the Buddha displayed since his childhood till, say, the end of the episode. He was so fascinated by this. So this, I would say that we can also do that. So we can learn. Now, from this, from the life, from the biography of the Buddha Shakyamuni, we come to know that he really displayed what is known as the unconditional love. He displayed it. And he's the one, through his own experience, he taught how to cultivate the unconditional towards others. So basically, what he taught as to how to cultivate, not just why the need to cultivate, but how to cultivate. There are two things. Why we have to cultivate it and how to cultivate. How to cultivate this, he taught two main methods. The first method is known as sevenfold cause-effect method. Sevenfold cause-effect method, the first one. And second one is known as the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. The sevenfold, the first one is known as sevenfold, F-O-L-D, sevenfold cause and effect. The sevenfold cause-effect method, number one. Number two is known as the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. The sevenfold cause-effect method and the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. Okay. The first method, while it was originally taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni himself, this teaching, the legacy of this teaching was transmitted to Arya Maitreya, the Bodhisattva Maitreya. So from Bodhisattva Maitreya, it was handed down to Arya Asanga. So this is how, so with the many teachers, the many masters in this lineage, finally it went to Indonesia. When a prince by the name the Dharmakirti, Acharya Dharmakirti, Master Dharmakirti. In Tibetan we call him Lama Selingpa. In Tibetan we call him Lama Selingpa, and one of his names is Dharmakirti, Acharya Dharmakirti. So, and then the great master Atisha Devangara Shirikyana, he himself was a prince, and from India he went to Indonesia to receive this teaching on bodhicitta from Lama Selingpa in Indonesia. He went there, and so total the journey took him like 11 months by sea. Right, in those days, 11th century AD, Lama Atisha Devangara Shirikyana, he went to receive the teaching on bodhicitta, this unconditional love, from this teacher Lama Selingpa, who was a prince and who was the monk practitioner there in Indonesia. And so overall, this journey, whether it's to and fro or just one way, finally what the records said is that it took him 11 months. Okay. So then from this Lama Atisha, he then brought this teaching all the way to Tibet. So this is how that teaching is still alive on this earth. So that is the first method of sevenfold cause and effect method to cultivate bodhicitta. Now the second method again, which is the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. The method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. So this method was again originally taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, and he transmitted this. The heir of this teaching, the legacy holder of this teaching was the Arya Manjushri. From Arya Manjushri, it was passed down to Arya Nagarjuna, and then all these various numerous teachers down, and then in the 8th century AD, it was the Bodhisattva Shantideva. So finally, with many teachers, masters in between, then the 8th century AD, it was Bodhisattva Shantideva who was the main holder of this tradition, Bodhisattva Shantideva, 8th century. Then 11th century, again many teachers in between, 11th century the same. It was there with Lama Selingpa in Indonesia. So Lama Selingpa and Atisha Devangara Shirikyana. So two of them are said to be the points of confluence of the two traditions. Two of them, Lama Selingpa and Lama Atisha, two of them are revered as the points of confluence of the two traditions. So from there, then the Lama Atisha took this to Tibet, and from this, what we have now as a living tradition is this how we got from the Buddha Shakyamuni with the unbroken lineage of all these masters. Okay, so of the two methods, I'd like to do the second one first. And second one, we have to know the steps. We have to know all the steps on our fingertips. We need to have all these on our fingertips. for your practice, we have to all this on our fingertips. And one thing that I'd like to share with you here is that like the two wings of a bird, we need the two practices. One is the practice of the compassion and the practice of the wisdom. So the practice of wisdom is to get rid of all your fears. The practice of compassion is to acquire the maximum happiness. You're getting it? The wing of the wisdom and the wing of compassion. And the wing of the wisdom is to get rid of all the miseries and the fears. Okay, tell me, how many of you don't want fears in your life? Even the younger ones. Okay, so the fear does not necessarily mean the fear of ghosts or something the immediate fear. Not in that sense. Any miseries which we don't like and you fear that you might have it. Right? Any misery is nothing but the manifestation of fear. Any misery is nothing but the manifestation of lack of freedom. You don't want the freedom, you don't want fear, but you don't have the freedom not to have fear. You're getting it? You don't want fear, but you don't have the freedom not to have the fear. So lack of freedom. Lack of freedom, misery, fear, they all are synonymous. Lack of freedom, misery, and fear, these are all synonymous. It's a matter of degrees. Common people, when they speak about fear, it is something like a fear of the tiger attacking you, something very manifest, something which is so evident, something which is so gross. Fear is not necessarily something very gross. It can be very subtle. For example, say, okay, if I go to a Tibet house, say, I feel thirsty very quickly nowadays. Where will I get water? In the class. Will I get water? No. So you are a little apprehensive. There's a little uneasiness there. This unease, you don't want it. Yet you don't have the freedom not to have it. You're getting it? That's a fear. The fear of feeling this, of getting this unease feeling. So fear can be 0.0001 through to 100 degree. It can vary between the two. Fear, ordinary people will understand fear as something very gross. It is not necessarily gross. Any degree, any kind of misery that you don't want, yet you have the fear that you might have it, that is a fear. Any degree of misery is a fear. Okay. Now, with this, say the wings, the two wings of the same bird. For the bird to flow, they fly. Gade gade para samgade bodhiswaha. This is how we have to undertake this journey. In Tibetan, it is songshik. Paru du songshik. Paru the andava songshik. Chanchu wishi sushik. In English, go beyond, go utterly beyond and establish your enlightenment. Meaning that, say where you are, this is not the place. This is not the ideal place you want to be. This is a place where there's full of fear, where it's full of miseries. I don't want this. Where there's no infinite happiness, right? But I want to go to a place where there is no fear, there's no misery, and there is infinite happiness. What is that state? That state is known as bodhiswaha. That state is known as bodhiswaha. So to reach to that bodhiswaha, we have to be very realistic. Don't start from Paragati level. Start from Gati. Start from where you are. In other words, you're getting it? So many people, they start from the middle. They start from the middle. So therefore, there's no ground. Because there's no ground, they fall. We have to start from the reality. We have to start from where we are. Be very realistic. Right? So where we are is where we are full of self-centered attitude, where we are full of miseries, unhappiness, doubts, and then somebody just says something unnice to you, you become unhappy, right? And somebody does not really greet you, you become unhappy, right? So anything, you're easily affected, it's all because of self-centered attitude. So this is where we are. We have to start from there. We have to start from there. So gate, para samgate. So this journey, for this journey, it is like crossing an ocean. Crossing an ocean. To cross the ocean, you must have very strong wings, 2 wings, very strong wings. And the 2 wings are the wing of the wisdom and the wing of compassion, unconditional compassion, right? The 2 wings. So what we are focusing here, bodhicitta, is the wing of the compassion, how to build that. How to build that, and the wing of the wisdom is equally important. It's not that compassion is the most important thing, no, wisdom is okay. No, and some people say wisdom is so important, compassion does not really focus on this. This is where we're going wrong. We have to focus on both, right? So for the time being, we're focusing on the compassion part. For that matter, this compassion as the one of the wings to achieve your ultimate state of happiness. Ultimate state where you are freed from all forms of miseries, right? So for that matter, of the 2 methods, what we're doing is we're doing the second method first. It has 9 steps. So we have to have the 9 steps on our fingertips. You getting it? Okay. So if possible, we can note the 9 steps down, and then next time we meet, when Sunday afternoon, when we meet, we make sure that we have on our fingertips, all of us. How many of you will have make sure that the 9 steps are on our fingertips next Sunday we come? Raise hands. I hope all of us. Okay, those who did not raise hands. Okay, I'm sure that we will make sure that, okay, so one thing is that there is a great degree of flexibility for the Narendra diploma course. But from your side, don't take it too flexible, right? Make sure that when I say something, at least the 5 steps. The next how many days? 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the morning, Sunday. We have still like 3 whole days plus half a day, right? For you to remember the 5 points. No, 9 steps, right? So there's something we can do. In some, say, people who are doing the medical, people who are doing engineering, they have to read like whole 400 pages that, in like 2-3 days, right? So the 9 steps. Just 9 lines, and some people have to read books over, say, 4 or 5 days, and then none of the diploma course. It's a diploma course, and then 9 points, the 9 lines is difficult, right? Let's not do that. Okay. These things we have a little bit of discipline to make sure that that's happening. The 9 steps. Why I'm saying this, if you make these 9 steps on your fingertips this time, the next time, slowly it may disappear. It may they fade away from your mind. But when you are to bring them again, you can retrieve them very quickly. It'll come to your mind. It'll come to the memory very quickly. You can retrieve them very quickly. Okay, the 9 steps. The first one, equalizing self and others. Step 1, equalizing self and others. Okay, step 2, okay, to just pay a deaf ear to people who are around you, who may say something to you, just pay a deaf ear, right? Okay, you know what I'm saying. I'll let you know later. Okay, number 2 is reflecting on the demerits of cherishing the self. Number 2 is reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. And number 3, reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Number 4, taking the suffering of others, taking the suffering of others with emphasis on compassion. Taking the suffering of others with emphasis on compassion. Number 5. Giving you happiness with emphasis on loving kindness. Giving you happiness with emphasis on loving kindness. Number 6. The actual exchange of self and others. The actual exchange of self and others. Okay. Number 7. The special recollection of the kindness of others. Special recollection of the kindness of others. Number 7. Special recollection of the kindness of others. Number 8. Altruism. Number 8. Altruism. Number 8. Altruism. 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 And number 9. Bodhicitta. Number 9. Bodhicitta. 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 Okay, what is step number 1? Equalizing self and others. What is step number 2? Reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Number 3, reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Number 4, taking the suffering of others with emphasis on compassion. What is number 5? Giving your happiness to others with emphasis on loving kindness. What is number 6? Actual exchange of self and others. What is number 7? Special recollection of the kindness of others. What is number 8? Altruism. What is number 9? Bodhicitta. Very good. Okay, these are the 9 steps. Okay, so our class is still 8. Okay, so now we're good. Okay, what's the first one? Equalizing self and others. Okay, equalizing self and others. Okay, for your information, so we are talking about the 2 wings of the bird. Two wings, very strong wings of the bird, and the difference. One difference between the 2 is the wisdom is cognitive in nature. Cognitive. Oh, this is a flower. This is not a mug. This is a flower. This is a mic. This is not a flower. You're getting it? This knowledge, ability to discern things properly. That is the cognitive element. Cognitive, this side of the mind. Cognitive factor, the wisdom. Then wisdom says, this is a flower, and the mind says, I want it. The wisdom says, this is Buddhahood. Then you say, I want to achieve this. And the wisdom says, these are the suffering beings, I want to help them. Right? So these are the suffering beings, this is what the wisdom tells you. And the affective mind says, I want to help them. Affective mind. So the other wing, the wing of compassion, is the affective factor of the mind. Affective factor. And the wisdom is the cognitive factor. These 2 must work hand in hand. These 2 must work hand in hand. This is one thing. Number 2 difference. Number 2 difference is that the wisdom that we are talking about, the wisdom, the knowledge, the cognitive side, and wisdom is not just any wisdom. It is the very specific wisdom, the wisdom to know the reality, wisdom of the emptiness, wisdom of emptiness. And this compassion is not just any compassion. It is a very unique compassion. This is the altruistic intention to become a Buddha, altruistic intention, wishing to become Buddha for the benefit of all beings. Altruistic intention to become Buddha for the benefit of all beings. Right? It's not just a compassion in a loose sense. It's not just any compassion. It's a very specific, a very profound, a very courageous mind. the altruistic intention, altruistic love, or altruistic intention to become a Buddha for the benefit of all beings. This is the compassion that we're talking about. Now, another difference that I'd like to share with you of these two, the difference between these two things is the wisdom. Wisdom to know the emptiness part. Here, two things, learning and experiencing. Learning and experiencing. To learn this wisdom, it takes us many years. This wisdom, to learn, it will take us so many years. You have to learn it very systematically, otherwise it will never come spontaneously. Don't expect that you go to a guru, right? And then guru blesses you and tomorrow you realize emptiness. Impossible. Don't expect that. You're getting it? If you really want to experience emptiness, if you really want to get rid of all your fears, it is only through the wisdom of emptiness. Only through the wisdom of emptiness. Without the wisdom of emptiness, there's no way by which we can get rid of all the fears, we can get rid of all the miseries. That is 100% guaranteed. And to get this wisdom of emptiness, don't expect the blessings, miracles to happen to you. It will never happen. It is only through the study, reflection, and meditation. Only through these three things. So, for the study of this wisdom, it will take us a long time. You have to study it very systematically, and you'll get it, right? Whether you get it or not, if you don't want suffering, you have to do it. There's no choice, right? There's no choice. We have to do it. And the good thing is that in the process, if you do it, in the process, you'll find such a joy. Once in a while, you get a glimpse of what emptiness is. Once in a while, you get a glimpse. Although it may not be a full-fledged emptiness, but like a glimpse of emptiness is a very profound joy, profound and very extremely profound, the tranquility. A feeling of tranquility comes to you. The profound feeling of serenity can come to you. Okay, this is the benefit. And yet, the study will take us long. If you are not ready for this, no choice, we have to keep suffering, right? If you don't want to suffer anymore, this is the way. You have to study, and study will take a little time. So the point is, with the wisdom of emptiness, in terms of the study, it will take us time. With the adequate amount of studies, when you to get experience, the great teachers, the great earlier teachers, experienced masters, what they said is that for the wisdom of emptiness, study will take time. A study will take time. You should be a little patient. Study will take time. We have to study systematically. And at one point, although the study takes time, but the experience will not take time. Experience will be very quick. If the study is adequate, then the experience is very quick. For the wisdom of emptiness. For the other wing, what's the other wing? The wing of the compassion, the wing of the bodhicitta. For the wing of bodhicitta, the study is very short, study is very easy. Experience will take time. You getting it? For the wing of the wisdom, study will take time and experience will not take time. For the bodhicitta, compassion of bodhicitta, study will not take time. Study is very, very simple. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. But experience will take time. To gain experience will take time. So therefore, you may, at one time, you may get a feeling that now you have hit the vertical cliff. You're getting it? I cannot go anymore. So this kind of, you can easily feel disheartened. Experience-wise, it takes a lot of time to gain experience. Whereas study-wise, you can get a complete understanding of bodhicitta if you are able to get the proper, say, the text materials. Then to study bodhicitta, maximum it will take like 1 week or say 2 weeks. Finish, you will get the bodhicitta. The study-wise is complete. But to experience that, what you learned, to experience that, it may take, if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, if you already attended the diploma course in the past life, So maybe this life will be very quick if we are doing this for the first time, right? In this life or next life, we have never done this. Then it may take few years. That too, with the consistent practice, it may take some years. Okay, and I will not say a few lifetimes. If I say few lifetimes, you don't do it. You'll stop it. Okay, it may take a few years. You get some experience, right? And although you may not experience bodhicitta, but for sure you will see the benefit of this, what is known as unconditional love, right? You get once in a while you can get a glimpse of this unconditional love towards others. Be somebody who loves you, who doesn't love you, or who is antagonistic, whatever, and particularly with the help of the wisdom, not just that alone, with the help of many factors. Then say that once in a while you can feel this love and affection. Okay, I personally, there was one person, don't ask me who, right? But when I was very young, age 5, 6, 7, 8, there was one person, and the irritation within my mind just to see that person was so acute irritation, right? And I could not really bear, even just forget about the sight, even to hear about this person, it just irritated me, right? So much agitation. Okay. And then finally, after the class 12, high school, the course of the life turned towards Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, Dharamsala, where they just directed towards the study of philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, psychology, practice. And I was so keen on, I was very impatient. I want to do everything so fast. So bodhicitta studies actually should be coming, I think, in the 3rd year. But I was just trying to grapple everything, although not my class, but still, wherever somebody's teaching there, I would run there and read materials like this. This is what I was doing. And then, just to know this is of no benefit, bodhicitta. Just to know what is bodhicitta doesn't help you, right? So you have to really experience this. To experience it, you have to meditate on this. And it says that without bodhicitta, you cannot become Buddha, right? Oh, I want to become Buddha. So for that, you have to practice bodhicitta. And bodhicitta, what is bodhicitta? May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So how can you do that? 7 steps, 9 steps. So I was looking for all these steps. And finally, I started to practice when I was in my 21, 22. Started just practicing it. And then, who was that? There was one person. Who was that person? Somebody. What is that somebody like? The mere thought of this person simply disturbs your mind, right? Disturbs my mind. And then I become very nice boy, meditating, right? 9 steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, what is step 9? Bodhicitta, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. And suddenly, lucky if this person doesn't come to my mind. If this person comes to mind, everything's spoiled. I have to go again to square one. I will go back, right? Except for this person. Except for this person, may I become Buddha? Except for this person. This person's out. Then after the meditation, right? What did you do? Oh, I practiced bodhicitta. But you said that, except for this. And bodhicitta means for all sentient beings. If all sentient beings are not there, then there's not bodhicitta. That's true. So what's the problem except for this? Then there's not bodhicitta. What's the problem? It's not bodhicitta. Then you will not become Buddha. Oh, right. All my big efforts simply went the waste. Okay, no. So I struggled how to make it, how to remove this irritation against this person. Practice. And of course, I'm still very far away from the actual bodhicitta, but at least I succeeded with this person. This person today, this feeling of agitation, irritation, simply disappeared. Not only disappeared, if somebody talks badly about this person, instantly I feel really sad. I just feel like coming in defense of this person. Just very spontaneous now happening. So that's all because of this all many years of the practice. So what I'm saying is that if you practice, it is bound to happen. I cannot guarantee that you will have the bodhicitta in this very lifetime, but for sure the journey is going to be a very beautiful journey. This is what I'm saying. Finally, when we practice bodhicitta, we don't practice bodhicitta. It is a journey. A good journey or a bad journey. It's going to be a journey, right? So why not we make the journey a very pleasant journey, meaningful journey? So there, it is through this practice, we see that your mind feels, although bodhicitta is very far away, still the kind of joy that you get. Otherwise, the mere thought of that person simply disrupts your mind, disturbance and agitation, and it disappeared. That itself is amazing success, right? So all of us, if we engage in some practice of this, for sure, our life will become very beautiful. It doesn't mean that now anger will disappear altogether. No, it doesn't mean that. At least this feeling of the animosity, this feeling of the grudge, feeling of resentment, and these thoughts will disappear, right? Okay, and your mind will be much more calm as compared to the very turbulent wave of agitation, irritation coming. Okay, so finally, it is through the practice. And for the bodhicitta, as I said earlier, the study, the steps. So this is one class, and the next class, hopefully we will finish the 9 steps within just 2 sessions, right? And then the other, again, it may take another 1 or 2 sessions, finish. And then maybe the auxiliary points are there to be discussed. Fine. Then to really get the experience, we have to practice it. Without practicing, simply by waiting for some blessings, some miracles, it's impossible that we'll experience it. Even if you meditate on both the wisdom of emptiness for so many years, bodhicitta will not spontaneously arise. Don't forget it. With the wisdom of emptiness, your anger will subside. Your compassion will grow. But compassion will grow to some extent, not to the extent of bodhicitta. Don't forget it. So Bodhisattva, the Nagarjuna, in his text commentary on bodhicitta Vivarana, Nagarjuna did mention that with the rise of the experience of emptiness, compassion for others, the love for sentient beings will invariably arise. This is what Nagarjuna said. So what it says is that this will arise because the wisdom of emptiness that counteracts the anger. And what's the opposite of anger? Love for others. So love for others, because anger subsides, love for others invariably arises. Now, the love for others, there are various degrees. The love for others, Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas, they have. Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas who practice personal liberation, they also have realized emptiness directly. They also have, because of this emptiness practice, anger subsides in them, because of which compassion arises in them. But the compassion within them and the compassion the bodhisattvas have, these two are very different. Compassion the bodhisattvas have is known as the great compassion. A compassion the Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas have, is not great compassion. It's known as compassion, or if complemented with a very powerful samadhi, powerful concentration, meditation, then it is known as the immeasurable compassion. Immeasurable compassion, but never great compassion. Great compassion only if you pursue through the bodhisattva path. And the distinction between the two is stark. There's a stark contrast between the two. Okay, so for that matter, we have to practice. If you practice, no doubt you'll experience this, and it's a matter of, say, as I said earlier, this journey, initially at times it could be a little disheartening, but overall speaking, this journey is an extremely, extremely enjoyable journey, a beautiful journey, the practice. Okay, so the first method. Okay, so now the point is, the wisdom of emptiness, again, the third difference, wisdom of emptiness and the two wings, wisdom of emptiness and bodhicitta. Wisdom of emptiness, don't be too creative in your meditation. For the wisdom of emptiness, don't be too creative. You must based on authentic information. You're getting it? You must be enriched. You must be rich with authentic information about the wisdom of emptiness. Don't be creative. Just create your own thoughts. It'll take you to very creative emptiness, right? And then it'll take you very creative, then with no effect. Okay, so don't be too creative with the wisdom of emptiness. With the wisdom of emptiness, you must get authentic information, facts. For the bodhicitta, you can be creative. For the bodhicitta, it requires a tremendous creativity there. Creativity doesn't mean that you have to just exaggerate, right? All the experience that you see around, even between the animals, even between the mother and the child, even between, say, the people who are very compassionate, like the Mother Teresa, right? And watching the Buddha Shakyamuni's episodes, and then say your relationship with your own mother when you were very young, your relationship with your own father when you were very young, right? Okay, and then how the mothers now, how they sacrifice everything for the child, right? So all what you see, hear, read, you can just creatively bring them into meditation to enrich your meditation. This is what I meant by, for the bodhicitta practice, you can be as creative. For the wisdom of emptiness, don't be too creative. Be rich with facts. You're getting it? For that matter, you have to have a very systematic study of the wisdom of emptiness. For the bodhicitta, you must be creative. If you're not creative at one point, you can easily quit, because bodhicitta practice, you follow the steps. Initially, it's fine. After about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then it's just like playing a tape recorder, right? Playing tape recorder, you just recite the steps, and then no experience coming. And it's so demoralizing, it's so disheartening at times. So you should be creative. Whatever experiences that you see around, you must enrich yourself with experiences, what you've seen, experiences, what you have read, and experiences which people shared with you. So these you have to bring them in this. Okay, so the first method, the first step is the equalizing self and others. For that, what we need to keep in mind is 2 points. One is that we are all equal. Okay, let's say, before I dictate, let us try to gain conviction in what we're learning. Let's say, if it is, say you are in Delhi in June, first week of June, what's the temperature like, Corey? 45, 48, I don't think so. Sometimes 47. Okay, by the way, Vanilla, any idea? To maximum the Delhi hit what temperature? In the history of Delhi? 48? 47? I remember myself when I was in Delhi, once it was 47. 48, once in a while?
47 and 48. Between that.
Oh, between that. Okay, let's say. So let's say that Delhi in the first week of June, when it hits like 40, 45, 46, 47, right? And maybe once in a while 48. When it hits like this degree temperature, and you are very thirsty, and the degree of thirst is 10%. Well, not 10% not too thirsty, right? 10% thirsty, and there's only one cup of one glass of water. Who likes one cup of water? Who likes to drink it? If it is just 10% thirsty, then you may say that. Then you may look around, and then maybe Logeshla will be more. Logeshla will say, okay, Logeshla, have it. If it's 10%, if your thirst is 10%, if your thirst is 40%, what do you say? 40%. What do you say? Huh? Hey, no idea. What do you say? Hey, Logeshla, or me. What's the answer? Huh? The Manan says half. Right? Okay. And if they are like to 50 people, 1 cup? No, half. Difficult. Okay. Then what if the thirst is 80%? What's the answer? Who likes to have this water? What's the answer? Huh? Right? Which means that you have not experienced that. Right? You have not experienced that. Okay. Do you know about Russian Revolution? Do you know about Russian Revolution? Huh? French Revolution? Russian Revolution? Where there was no food in the market. Right? No food in the market. And some bread coming to the market, everybody's fighting for this. You getting it? Fighting like what? How the Tibetan people here said like this, I'll have it. Or they're literally going there. How? Literally going there fighting. Physically, aggressively fighting for a piece of bread. You getting it? This is because their hunger is more than 60-70%. You're getting it? So when the thirst, the degree of the thirst shoots up, hunger shoots up in degrees, right? Then we tend to become more and more aggressive. Self-centered attitude become more and more aggressive. You're getting it? Okay. Now, let's imagine that we are in a part of French Revolution or Russian Revolution where we do not have any food for a whole 1 week. We are so terribly hungry, and suddenly a basket of bread comes, right? And then they say, okay, you have money, but there's no bread in the market. Now some bread comes. What do? You just jump to grab at it. You fight for this. Okay, let's say this is a scenario. If I ask you are jumping, right? You are jumping. I ask you why you are jumping. There are only five breads, and there are like 50 people. Why you jumping? What's the answer? Hey, huh? Because I'm hungry. You are getting it? Because I'm hungry. Okay. My next question. Others, are they hungry or not? Right? Others hungry? Others also need that? Answer is yes. Intellectually, the answer is yes. But again, I say, who likes to have this? Again, you'll fight me. Again, I ask you, why you? Because I'm hungry. Right? So, our rationality works only one way. I'm hungry. We never think about others hungry. As the degree of the hunger increases. When the degree of hunger is very low, right? Then you can think of others as hungry. When your degree of hunger is so acute, 80-90%, then your focus is all going to self. And who is punishing this? It's a punishment. Who is punishing this? The self-centered attitude is punishing you. Right? You cannot think of anyone else. Okay, so but others also very hungry as you are. But I'm looking for only me. Why? Self-centered attitude is very biased to see self as more important than others. So there's no equality there. What's the first step? Equalizing self and others. We are not equalizing it. We are seeing ourselves as more important than others. This is where we're going wrong. And this feeling that I'm more important than others, this does not do anything good to us. It only destroys our happiness. It only brings miseries to us. You're getting it? Where, rationally speaking, we see that just as I'm hungry, others also hungry. Just as I'm terribly hungry, others also terribly hungry. So we are all equal, right? Rationally we think about this. More we think about this. Rationally speaking, there's no basis for me that I should claim for it. We all have the right to claim for this, right? If I have the right to claim, they also have the right to claim. So this is how we have to train. We have to think of this. One. So the fact is, how to equalize self and others. Number one, on what ground? One ground is that we are all equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. This is one way. This is one point to equalize self and others. We're all equal. Number one. Number two, that just as, say, both of us, just as I want the maximum happiness, I have the potential of maximum happiness, others also have the potential for maximum happiness. Everybody has the Buddha nature. We're all just equal in having the seed of perfection. No, it's not only me. Everyone has the seed of perfection. We're all just equal. So whether from the point of view of the potential, from the point of view of the basic desire, we're all equal. With the basic desire, I want happiness, I don't want suffering. Others also want happiness, they don't want suffering. And from the point of view of the potential, we all have the same potential to reach the highest degree of happiness, right? To get the highest perfection. We all have the same potential. From both these points of view, we are all equal. It's not that I'm more important than others. So with this understanding, so later on, if your the degree of the thirst is like 80%, and somebody comes with who likes to have this water, and you say, okay, now I realize we are same. Although the thirst is so acute, you can feel the acute thirst in others also. You see that we are equal. So there, when you reach a stage whereby, okay, who likes to have it? Okay, now notice both of us we are suffering. You can give it to any one of us. If this is where you reach from earlier, where I want it, from there, if you transform to that state where, okay, we are equal, you can give it to anyone. If you reach to that stage, you have passed the first step. You have passed the first step. That is, you are successful in equalizing self and others. You're getting it? Okay. Number one. What is step number two? Okay, reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Reflecting on demerits of cherishing oneself. Okay, so the Bodhisattva Shantideva, he beautifully encapsulated point number two and point number three. Point number two and point number three as following. The miseries the world contains. The miseries the world contains are derived from wishing happiness for oneself. The happiness the world contains are derived from wishing happiness for others. The miseries the world contains are derived from wishing happiness for oneself. And the happiness the world contains, all happiness the world contains, are derived from wishing happiness for others. So this is an incredibly beautiful summary that Bodhisattva Shantideva made. For example, let's say in the history of humanity, for example, say Mahatma Gandhi, he's been remembered so fondly by all the Indians. So fondly remembered by the people of the world. Why he's so popular? Why he's so famous? Why he's so popular? If you reflect on this point, okay, what could be the reason? Anyone? Why he's so popular, loved by so many people? Why? Anyone? No idea? Why Mahatma Gandhi? So he is being respected as the father of the nation. Yes, yes. He's been respected as the
Warrior, he fought for the Indian people. He was a warrior, he fought for Indian
He's the-
people. The way he fought was different. He was a warrior who fought for India's, everybody's independence.
okay. So
And
he
but his
don't put the but. I want the but.
what I want to add on is the interpretation that he is considered to be the father of the nation is a political understanding. As growing up, have been taught this. But if I see it politically, it was Nehru who coined him as the father of the nation because he made him the prime minister of India. So that is
Okay.
total politics, and it is not everybody. It is not that everybody considered him to be the father of the nation. It's sheer politics that he is now considered.
Okay, I got you, Atidyaji, thank you. Okay, let us not be negative. Not be negative. Then they say even the enlightened beings, even the Buddha, people talk badly about these things. So what we do is, to make it short, the point what we're learning here is that, whether we like it or not, there are so many people, at least few millions. India is a little over 1 billion. If not all, at least few million people, no doubt. At least I can say that like 1 billion people on this earth, maybe minimum 2 billion people heard the name Mahatma Gandhi. Right? Heard the name Mahatma Gandhi. Whether they like him or not, this is not the point. The point is, at least there are a few million people who love him. No doubt. But I want few million people to love me. Even few million people, they don't know the existence of me. Right? So this is how we have to look at things. Let us not look at things negatively. So who am I? Right? Who am I? I try my best to go to all different parts of the world. Right? But still, I don't have 1 million people, who know me. But Mahatma Gandhi, how many millions and billions of people are there who know him, number one, and how many people are there who love him, who respect him. And if you think very carefully, say, this gentleman, or this boy, he could have easily become he was already very educated in the first place. Very educated for his own purpose. For his own purpose, he could lead a very easy life, very comfortable life. Why did he have to go into the prisons? Why did he have to sit for the fasting? Why did he have to sit for fast? Right? So he could lead a very comfortable life. He was a lawyer. And he was so well educated. While the majority, 90% of forget about India, the world, people are not that educated. He was so well educated. Maybe he was one of the 0.01% of the educated people, right? He could have led a very easy life. But he went through all these challenges, difficulties, courageous actions, as was rightly pointed out, for the nation. For at least in those days, maybe like 600 millions or 700 millions of Indians. For him, he worked. It's amazing. So this courage came to him. Do I have this courage? This question. Do I have this courage to risk my life for the nation, for all the people? Do I have this courage? So this courage comes out of love for this number of people. So the point is that why he became popular is because of the love that he demonstrated. The love that he demonstrated for the fellow countrymen and women. It is out of this that he became so popular. Right? One. And today, for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he's being loved by millions. What made him so special? Again, we see that it's because of his love for others. Love for others. So this love for others means love for others, love for the self. Right? Love for others versus love for the self. Love for the self is known as self-centered attitude. Love for the others is the compassion, loving kindness, and so forth. So of these two, where one is very self-centered, then you want the maximum happiness. You want so many people to love you. But the self-centered attitude is the one which pushes others from loving you. Where everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be loved by many people. But why this is not happening? It's simply because we could not display the other cherished mind. So if we think in these practical terms, we see that other cherished mind attracts what you want, the fame, and so forth. Right? Okay. So whereas the self-centered attitude, it will only attract, right, people disliking you, people not liking you. So this is what the self-centered attitude does. And then, say, even in the community, even in the family, even look at even the dogs. Even the dogs, some dogs, they are so aggressive. Do you see any other dogs? They just chase, fight. And some dogs, they are extremely gentle, right? Extremely gentle. Which of the two dogs are happier? You bark every day. Is happy? Or always gentle, sleeping, playing with other dogs? Which is happier? Playing with other dogs. Of course, this naturally this is happier, right? One whole day, you so much energy will be consumed, right? Okay, so the point is that the self-centered attitude from our real life experience, we see that more the self-centered, the person is very unhappy. You're getting it? So generally speaking, self-centered, the more the self-centered, you can easily be affected by somebody else. You can easily be affected. Right? Whereas the more the other cherishing, you are less affected by other people. This is, we should be very observant. Be very observant, and we'll see them. Some people, if you throw a very bad comment, right, the person will make it as a joke. Whereas for some, even if you throw a good comment, even this good comment can become a cause of problem. Right? If somebody says that, okay, let's say I have this watch. Somebody says that, okay, you have a nice watch. Right? Then, are you jealous of this? Can I not have am I not allowed to have a nice watch? Right? Hello, where are you? Are you my spy? Am I not allowed to, don't I have the right to go wherever I like? Are you my spy? Right? And if you don't say, where are you? Right? You do not even inquire where I am. You are not least bothered about where I am. You're least bothered. Even if I die, you don't care. So what should we do? How are you? If I say, how are you? It's not a business. Right? It's not a business. How are you? Right? And where are you? Are you my spy? If you don't say where are you, you don't inquire about me. Right? Okay. So look. So with this, who will actually come to be friend with you? Right? So this all because that you are so self-conscious, so self-centered. You're not really concerned about the other person. You don't really appreciate other people. Right? You are just totally focused on the self, right? And so doubtful. Anything, you just interpret negatively, right? This is terrible, right? And you do a good job, they will say that there must be ulterior motive. You do a good job, look at a terrible person, right? What should you do? Should you do a good job or bad job? If you don't do anything, look, you're wasting your life. If you do something, there's a problem. If you don't do, there's a problem. If you do good thing, again there's a problem. Bad thing, there's a problem. So this is how our mind when obsessed with the self-centered attitude, it unnecessarily creates agitation with you. So when you say, for example, okay, let's say somebody tells you, oh, you have nice words. You have nice words, right? Well, thank you. Finish. Thank you. And you feel the joy over the other person appreciating your words. Just feel the joy. Instead, are you jealous of this? Are you jealous of this? What's the feeling like? Agitation inside. Mental disturbance. Are you happy? Not happy. Who made it? You made it. This self-centered attitude made it. Right? So this self-centered attitude is the one which unnecessarily attracts, made you to interpret all the things negatively. Right? It makes you interpret everything negatively. Whereas with the other cherished mind, you will see beauty in everything. It's amazing. The moment you see beauty, there's a joy in you, your mind becomes so light. The moment you see the unattractiveness there, your mind simply sinks with gloominess. So the self-centered attitude is the one which simply pushes others away from you. Other cherishing, wherever you are happy. Everybody will love you. You're getting it? Everybody will love you. Right? You're very happy wherever you are. Okay. So that we have to begin. Charity begins at home. We have to begin this at home. Right? Just see how much you can display love and affection towards the near and dear ones in your home. Start from there. Right? Start from there and say, if you express this kind of agitation, just unnecessary agitation, aggression, so forth, even this agitation, irritation, aggression, this is not you. The real you is so precious, is so pure. This is not really you. This is you acting under the influence of the two demons. Self-centered attitude and the self-grasping experience, particularly self-centered attitude, where you become very demonic, very aggressive, and so forth, because of self-centered attitude. It's not you. It's not you. And some people, what they do is when the anger subsides, they feel, no, I'm a very bad person. No, don't blame the self. This self is so precious. The fact that you discovered that, okay, what I did is not really good. Even this is amazing success. So what you should be doing is that, and don't remain just idle as well. Blame somebody. Who should be blamed? The self-centered attitude should be blamed, right? And for that, how to challenge the self-centered attitude? To challenge the self-centered attitude. Unless you challenge the self-centered attitude, it will never go away on its own. It will never go away on its own. Just challenge it. How to challenge this? How to challenge self-centered attitude is try to do things which are against the dictate of this self-centered attitude. A self-centered attitude wants you to shout at somebody else. Self-centered attitude wants you to show anger to somebody else. Don't show this. Don't give in to the anger. Don't give in to the shouting at somebody else. Right? At least in your family. Start from there. Right? It's not you. Keep this in mind. It's not you who is shouting. It is you engaged in this act is not your true nature. You engaged in this act because of the dictate of this self-centered attitude. And this self-centered attitude is not you. You can discard this and you can become a very pure, respected, revered person. Person who is going to be revered by everybody. Why the Buddha, Shakyamuni, is so revered, so loved by people? Why Jesus Christ is so loved by so many people? Right? And if you read the biography of Jesus Christ, it's amazing. Right? We should not read the biography of Jesus Christ as a Christian prophet. No. Read it as a human being who displayed such a courage, love and affection towards others. You read the biography of Mahatma Gandhi. You read the biography of Mother Teresa. You read the biography of the Martin Luther King Jr. Right? Just read their biography and appreciate their good qualities of compassion, courage, and their determination, and so forth. Okay, so this is all coming. So with these good qualities, right, seeing them, okay, why not? I also have these seeds. But as long as I give in to the self-centered attitude, these seeds will not germinate at all. Why should I prove myself to be incapable? Why should I prove myself to be weak? Right? I will. So say giving into the self-centered attitude, giving into the self-centered attitude. Weak means to do those things which actually do not benefit you, which actually harm you. That is a weak person, right? Who cannot do something very productive for oneself. So when you are under the sway of the self-centered attitude, that pushes out all your happiness. That only attracts the miseries. So this is indication of weakness. Weak person, for example, when somebody who's so weak, physically so weak, goes in the crowd, easily say you can have some damage to your limbs, arms, and so forth. Easily damaged because you're weak. If you're very strong, you go to the crowd, you will not be affected by the crowd. So likewise, say, so without a self-centered attitude, you confronted with any kind of situation, you will not be affected. With a self-centered attitude, you are easily affected with so much agitation, irritation, doubt, suffering, fear, and so forth. So that is a sign of weakness. So to remain peaceful, calm, this is not a sign of weakness. Oftentimes people take that, somebody who remain calm, peaceful, not reacting, as a sign of weakness. Only if you find, then that is signs of strength. This is not the case. This is the backward thinking. Is a backward thinking is the thinking of the people who are actually very unwise. This is unwise thinking. Because self-centered attitude, it only attracts miseries to you. The first thing it does is the agitation arises within you. And nobody wants agitation. With the agitation, what happens? You will not even enjoy the good food. Right? So with say somebody was so agitated, and then while you are so agitated, somebody brings cheesecake to you. Do you think that you will enjoy the cheesecake? No way. No way. You're getting it? So you suffer the good food, and then you will not have a good sleep. Right? Without sleep, no food, your body will invariably go down, decline, and then you become your immune system goes down. Okay, so these are the demerits of cherishing the self. So this is what we really need to think of and see in what way they harm you so greatly, right? Okay, we'll stop here for today. Tejala, dedication prayer.
Please turn to page 278 for the additional dedication prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrizik Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the great Manjushri and Samatavata too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these youths of virtue with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious ones thus born of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme Bodhichat that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. Janju Sencho Rinpoche Madre Pada Ge Guruche Yevanyamba Mevaya Gone Gonu Kevarisho. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, Until then, may I too remain to dispel the mysteries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the two stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the snow land. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds, of the negative forces of humans and non-humans, who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and paths. May I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Abhim and Jushri, and be able to uphold the Dharma in general, and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life.